So interesting news out of Facebook. Facebook has ported their Instagram stories across into Facebook. It's a native feature that they're trialing at the moment. This is definitely an attempt to sort of take a bite out of Snapco's market segment. Most people playing along will know that Snap have floated their IPO, or they're about to, I think, depending on when you've watched this video. Looks like a $3 billion plus valuation, so Snap's not going anywhere soon, but interesting development from the biggest player in the social media game. Speaking about social media, the debate about social media influencers rages on amongst marketers and digital media managers alike. There's a big shift to using influencer marketing over influencer advertising. The industry's really segmented into two parts. I mean, it always has been, but we're seeing that there's a much better return on using things like citizen influencers, so people that have between 1,000 and 10,000 followers. It's not usually paid work. It's not really influencer advertising, which is, you know, when you see them like, oh look, I'm wearing my new branded sneakers, and it's in the comments and there's link backs and all that. I think that's starting to wear thin with a lot of people, especially when posts get really overloaded with it all. So we're looking at like actual long-term marketing, so developing relationships with influencers, or doing a great thing like Matcha Maiden. Matcha Maiden use this fantastically, where they use a lot of people who don't have a very high like count, and some that do, and they repost them, repost all their pictures, and they give link backs and credits, and people love it. And now they've got a whole Instagram that's, I think, about 50,000 people following it, on the back of other people's content, but it's very authentic, it's very real. And the interesting note about follow counts, especially on Instagram, is the lower the follower count, the higher the engagement. It's something to think about. Unless you've got like the money to get a Kim Kardashian on, you're probably better off using a lot of other smaller reps. Other Facebook developments, as usual, they develop incredibly fast and things move very quickly with Facebook and with their dev teams. There's new ways to track video on Facebook. This is really exciting to us. They're tracking things through engagement, and they're really weighting long form video. This is a marked departure from what they've really been pushing a lot of the time. Is, you know, you try and get your video on there, you've got 15 or so seconds to engage with someone before they move across, and use all these different techniques like subtitles, getting your point across really quickly, having it like really pop in the newsfeed. Most time people aren't even turning sound, but Facebook's now favouring longer form videos with this new metric that is an engagement metric, basically. It's interesting because YouTube is the home of long form entertainment digitally, when you take out things like Netflix and Amazon Prime and things like that. But Facebook, sort of turning towards it, can see that it is a way that they're going to have to shift. I suspect it's because you can fit more ads into a long form video. This is one of the big problems that Facebook is running into, is you can only have so many ads in a newsfeed. So people don't often scroll all the way down to the end of their feed. They go in for a second, scroll down a few posts, and they're out again. And there's only so many ads you can put in there, especially on mobile. But long form or video is somewhere else they can advertise in. And if you've got a 15-minute video, you can potentially advertise twice, maybe 3 times, depending on how you do it. So I think this is an interesting development, one that we're definitely going to keep an eye on. And talking about metrics to measure everything, we're moving into a world where you can measure more and more, and you can really target exactly where people are and what device they're using, what they're doing when they access your ad content. But the real shift is we need to start thinking about going back to advertising to people, not marketing to a device. So a lot of times you might see that someone's logged into Facebook on their mobile or on their desktop and saying, well, okay, so they're on their mobile, and that means we'll just give them ads that we think are going to work on mobile rather than ones that are going to work cross-platform. but people are more and more connected. I log into Facebook over 2 desktops, a tablet, probably a watch if I could get onto there, and my phone. So now I'm across all these different devices with new things like VR, which I know a lot of people sort of are thinking, oh, is it actually going to get big? And it is. Getting to look at some of the new stuff coming up. VR is very much, and AR especially, Apple's working through, is going to be a big part of the future. So we've got to start thinking about how to market to customers, because people buy things, not devices. Just something to think about when you're setting up, ad campaigns, marketing campaigns, that this is more where we're heading. We're not 100% there now, but we need sort of like an ubiquitous move towards marketing to people rather than to what they use to access your information. And if you notice that we're somewhere completely different today, that's definitely not where we usually film in. We're at the amazing One Roof in Melbourne. So if you're a female entrepreneur or a female-led business looking for a co-working space, pop in, see Cherie, she's tops. And thanks for having us. I'll see you next time.
You know I'm putting that in, right?
No, please don't.